Thank you everyone for popping in. This is going to be a really fun session. This is the 2025 Internet Marketing Planning session. Like I said at the beginning, this is going to be a working session, right? I want this to be collaborative and I want all of us to work together and participate so that we can make this fun. And it's, like I said, not just me sitting here talking at you guys for forever, and we can actually make this kind of fun. So my really big goal
Question.
for this is I really
Oh,
just kind of want to dial in what your goals and targets are for the year, right? Where do we actually want to go next year? What's going to be the breakdown of those, right? So how are we going to get there and what do we need to do to make all that happen? And what marketing are we actually going to be putting in place to make those goals happen, right? Because this is the marketing plan for 2025. And so that's what we are going to be focusing on today. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to ask everyone that's on with us already, how was 2024 for you guys? I've heard mixed opinions from a bunch of folks. Some people said it was great. Some people said it was horrible. So if you would just go ahead and type in the chat, say something that will let me know how your 2024 was. Go ahead and type it in the chat. Okay, we got some good growth from Vlad. Nice. How's everyone else doing? Again, make this interactive, right? I don't just want to sit here and talk to
I,
people.
I won't be interactive because I have my daughter's basketball game, so I'll be just listening. Sorry.
No worries, man. No worries. I appreciate you anyways. Awesome.
But yeah,
Gutter Expert said it's been great.
2024 was horrible compared to 2023,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it picked up. But we're a hurricane heavy company, so
Right.
as the
Right.
hurricanes came, it got really good.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, I get you. And that's, again, a lot of kind of what I've heard from a lot of other folks as well in the space. Gutter Expert says it's been great. It's been slowing down with winter approaching, but still going strong. That's pretty typical. You know, seasonality happens, but great. Awesome. Thank you guys for participating. And I love to hear that. So, and I want you to mentally think, you don't have to put it in the chat or anything, but I want you guys to think mentally, kind of rate how your 2024 was on a scale of 1 to 10, right? 10 being it was great, you killed it, you crushed all your goals, you're going into 2025 strong. 1 being you're pretty much on the brink of bankruptcy and you guys aren't going to make it to 2025, right? Rate yourself on that scale because I want to think of it as if you're at like a 6 or lower and you're kind of really struggling, I think that there needs to be big change, right? Because as we all know, the definition of insanity is pretty is doing the same things and expecting a different result. So think about that. If you're at a 6 or lower, there definitely needs to be some big change. But if you're looking to grow even further into 2025, we obviously want to see what we can do to do that anyway. So my goal for this session is to set clear goals and targets for the year because we need to have a clear plan, right? We need to know where we're going and where we're heading towards. We need to realign our KPIs and tracking to achieve those outcomes. So throughout the year, we can say, okay, how are we doing? Are we on track? And what do we need to do to adjust if needed? And we also need to map out, or we're also going to map out our plan for accomplishment, right? So I have some really cool resources that I'm going to share with you guys that you can use during the session. We're going to look at budgeting, right? How are we going to plan our budget throughout the year? What channels do we need to be investing in? And what important trends do we need to be aware of so that we can be ahead of the curve and not lagging behind in 2025? And at the end of the day, the entire goal of this session is to really set you guys up for success in 2025 and beyond. So with that being said, we have this really cool workbook that I had made for you guys that we are going to be using in today's session. I'm going to drop it in the chat. We don't need to do anything with it quite yet, but what I want you guys to do is go ahead and click that link that I just dropped in the chat. It'll take you to a Google Doc. What I want you to do is make a copy of that. So it'll either prompt you to make a copy of it when you open it, or you can go into File up in the top left-hand corner and make a copy of it. And when you pull that up, it's going to look a little something like this over here. And so I just want you to pull this document up. And if you could just type in the chat open once you have that opened, and so that I know that we're all ready to go and move forward. And if you're having any troubles, feel free to speak up. Is it opening okay? Can anyone get it open? Oh, let me change that for you. Sorry. There we go. All right, go ahead and try again. Sorry about that, guys.
Just doing that Zoom meeting. Just doing that Zoom meeting.
Awesome. Perfect. Looks like you guys are getting in there. Great. Go up to the top left-hand corner, click File, make a copy, and then make a copy of that document. And we can press on. Awesome. Sounds good. Let me move. How do I move you guys out of the way here? There we go. So what I want to do first is tell you a little bit about myself and why you should actually listen to me, because some of you may know me, some of you may not. And so for those of you that don't, you may be thinking, you know, why am I sitting here listening to this young guy talk about how to run my gutter business? Well, I'm the founder and CEO of Gutterwise Marketing, which is a digital marketing agency for gutter contractors, where we sit down and we help grow and scale gutter contractors by getting their internet marketing right. So this is kind of what I do. I also, before this agency, I was a gutter salesman. So I have experience in the industry. I had a close rate of about 80%, which is pretty good for our market up here in Colorado. And because of that, I was able to generate about $40,000 a month in revenue for that business for the short amount of time that I had worked there. Also, because we have this business, we work with gutter contractors throughout the country, right? So me and my team have clients all the way from California to Idaho to Texas. So we really have a vast experience in different markets. So we know what works in different places. And I also kind of live, breathe, and eat marketing. Not only do I run this agency, but I also am currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in marketing. So I kind of do this day in and day out, which is super fun for me. But yeah, so it's kind of what we do. So the first step of this process that we're going to do here is we need to set clear goals, right? Because without goals, we don't really have a lot of direction, right? We don't have an idea of what we're working towards, and we don't have anything to measure against in the year to know how we're actually doing, right? I love this quote by Brian Tracy: "Success is goals, all else is commentary," right? And so I really am a firm believer that we need to have goals set out for each part of the year. And I like to think of it as a boat, right? I like to think of our businesses as a boat, right? This boat out at sea, and not having goals is like this boat just being kind of pushed around, right? It's getting thrown around by some waves. There might be a whale that comes up and smacks it in the face, whatever, right? This boat is like your business just kind of being pushed around by life, right? With no clear direction. But once we set clear goals and we have an idea of what we're shooting towards, that's like wind in your sails, right? That gives us something to work on. That gives us a goal to move towards, and it has clear direction, especially when you go through a session like today and you know exactly what to be doing to hit those goals. It gives you an idea of what we need to be doing day in and day out to get there. So we'll go ahead and open up those workbooks again. We're going to go in and we are going to do some fun stuff with these. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is, again, you're going to want to make a copy of this. I know I see a few of you guys are still kind of idling here. Go ahead and make a copy of this so that you can edit it, because right now you can't. And I want you to go to page 2 where it says 2025 plan. And in that 2025 plan, the first thing that we're going to be filling out is the current snapshot, right? So we're going to get an idea of where your business is at today, so that we can plan against that to figure out where we want to go in the future. So the first thing that I want you guys to fill out is, what's your average monthly revenue, right? On average, on a typical month, or if you took all of your revenue for the year and divided by 12, what is your average monthly revenue? So throw that in your workbook. Then next to that, go ahead and type in, what typical number of jobs do you run per month? So that's everything. That's everything from cleanings, installations, repairs. However many jobs that you're actually running per month, what's the typical number, right? And then once you have those two metrics, what you're able to do is you can then calculate what your average ticket is, right? So take your average monthly revenue and take your typical number of jobs per month, and you can divide your number of jobs or I mean, sorry, your monthly revenue by your number of jobs, and you can get what your average ticket value is. What's your average transaction, right? On average, how much is someone paying you for your services? And these metrics are important, right? We're going to use these metrics throughout the workshop, and you should be using them in your business, but we're going to use them throughout the workshop to really understand how to get to our goals, right? So once you have those things filled out, then I want you to go in and figure out what your average conversion in field is. So what's the percentage of people that go from interested party, right, phone call, to booked, paid, and completed job in the field? Some of us might be at 50%. Some of us might be at 40%. It varies for everyone. So put your conversion in this workbook here and be honest with yourself too. Like, not everyone's conversion is going to be like 70, 80%. That's really highly unlikely, right? But be honest with yourself. Put what your conversion rate is, because that is going to give us a really strong number to work with once we get into some of this more detailed stuff. And then very simply, put your number of crews in there at the end. So you run in with 1, you run in with 2, you run in with 10, whatever it is, throw your average number or throw your number of crews in there. And then what we're going to do is we want to go to our 2025 goal, right? So we have our current snapshot. We know what we're doing today. Those numbers should be pretty easy for you to figure out. But now what we want to do is we want to figure out what's our goal for 2025. So the first thing that we're going to type in is our annual revenue, right? What's our annual revenue target for 2025? Is it 3 million? Is it 2 million? Is it 5 million? Is it maybe just 1 million? Whatever it is for you, throw it in there in your annual revenue target. And then I want you to also put how many number of crews is it going to take for you to get there? Because we know that, you know, per crew, we can generate X amount of revenue. So in that case, we're going to need 3 crews or whatever it is, right? Throw that number in there. I'm going to give you guys just a quick second to do that. And then this is arguably the most important part right here, the why question, right? Because we can kind of put all these arbitrary numbers out into the world, right? We can say, I want to hit $2.5 million next year, right? Great, that's fine. But I really want to focus on this why question, because these numbers oftentimes are arbitrary, right? They're just numbers. But I want you to think about, and I want you to write down in your document here, what is going to be different if you actually reach that number, right? So great, you reached $2.5 million a year. You did great this year, but what's changed? Like what's different in your life? What's different in the lives of the people that you employ, right? What's different in the lives of the people that you're serving? What's going to change, right? And I want you guys to get clear on this, because this is what you're going to be able to refer back to when you have some struggle times, when you're like, man, we're kind of struggling right now. This is what you want to look back to. You want to look towards your why, right? You want to look towards, what is this going to mean for everybody if we're able to achieve this level of success? And it's really important to write down. So again, I'm going to give you guys just a few seconds to write that down, and then we'll press on. And I also can't see the chat when I'm in present mode right here. So if you're having troubles or anything, feel free to unmute yourself and let me know. Awesome. So hopefully you guys have that in yet. You can always come back to this as well and fill that out, but we're going to press on, because once we have our goals set, right, we have all of those numbers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into this sheet, right? Now this Google Sheet, you all have access to through your, and why does this keep happening? There we go. You all have access to this sheet through your document here. So if you scroll down, you'll see this key targets page. And if you click on this image, you can click this link and it'll take you to this Google worksheet, where I'm going to allow access right now so we don't have the same issue. It'll take you to this worksheet, and I want you to do the same thing. Go ahead, click File, make a copy so that you can put all of your own numbers in there so that you're not trying to mess with the master sheet here. So I want you guys to open that up. I see people are coming in here, and this is where we're going to be looking at a lot of our tactical numbers, right? This is where we're going to put a lot of this into practice. So go ahead and open up that sheet and let me know if you're having any troubles and make a copy. And again, I'm seeing only a few of you opening up here. Trust me, you're going to want to use this, right? This is something that you can not only use on this session, but throughout the year to help you plan this sort of thing, right? So can be something extremely useful for you. And you can also have access to this after the webinar as well. So if you're on mobile device or something and you don't have Google Sheets installed, you're able to access this as well. After the webinar, it will be posted so you guys can go into it. But I would love for someone to follow along with me here now. I got someone asking, how do I open it? So you can go into the Google, your workbook here, right? And you can click on this lead where it says lead generation target planner. There's an image. You can click on that image and it'll take you to your Google Sheet. And if you're on mobile, it might not work unless you have Google Sheets installed. So that's why I was saying you can get to your PC afterwards, and I can post this as well. And I'll go ahead and just drop this link in the chat as well, just in case anyone is having trouble getting to it from the doc. So there's the link. If you can get it on your phone, great. If you can't, that's okay. You can just follow along and understand kind of how this is going to be working. And then I'll give you guys access to this sheet after the training as well, so that you guys can use what we learn on this training and then implement it afterwards if needed. And make sure that you go ahead and click file and make a copy so that you can put in all your own numbers. Great. So we're going to press on here. And we're going to be doing a little bit of work in this sheet. And the first thing that I want you guys to look at is this lead generation target planner section, right? So as you can see, there's a lot of different tabs. We're going to be focusing on this one. And what this will do is you're going to go into your workbook and you're going to say, okay, what was my revenue goal? Take what revenue goal you wrote down, and I want you guys to put that into this cell here so that it'll populate these cells. And now not every single one of these areas you need to fill in, just a few of them. So you guys can go in and put your revenue goal into this cell here. And if someone would be so kind to work with me on this so I can kind of demonstrate how this is going to work. If someone wants to unmute themselves and tell me what their annual revenue target is for next year, that'd be great. So if one of you guys wants to let me know. Or you can type it in the chat, whatever works for you. Just go ahead. Let me know what's your annual revenue target for 2025. Someone let me know. No one? Okay. Well, if no one's gonna let me know, I'm just gonna use random numbers. You have the chance to kind of let me know here. Someone say something in the chat here. Okay, Gutter Experts was the first one. They said 3 million. Great, we're going to use that. So Gutter Experts, their target is 3 million. Right? Oh, gotta add a 0. So their annual revenue target is 3 million. What this sheet will do is it'll automatically divide it by 12 and give you a running average of how much you should be making per month to hit that target, right? So Gutter Experts is going to need to make around $250,000 a month to hit that $3 million goal. And this is great, but we're going to dive in a little bit further. If you wouldn't mind, whoever's behind the keyboard over there at Gutter Experts, can you let me know, what would you say your guys' average ticket is? What's your average transaction value for your services? About 2,800. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty average, I would say. So we're going to throw 2,800 in there. And so what this is going to do is it's going to take your average, or it's going to take your revenue target. It's going to take what your average ticket value is, and it's going to tell you how many jobs would be required to hit your monthly goal, right? So for example, Gutter Experts is going to need 89 jobs per month to hit their $3 million target, right? And so this is great. This is how we're going to know what we should be shooting for, right? But of course, we obviously need to get people interested first, right? We need people to know about us. So, gutter experts, if you wouldn't mind letting me know, what's your average conversion rate? Is it 30%, 40%? What would you guys say is a solid conversion rate for you guys on a typical month? 30%. All right. Boom. So we're going to throw that in there. So if your closing rate, if your conversion rate is about 30% from interested party to close job, that means you're going to need about 298 leads per month to be able to hit your goal, right? So if you want to make $3 million a year and your average ticket is about $2,800, you're going to need to serve 89 people, have 89 jobs. And if your conversion rate is about 30%, then that means you need almost 300 leads to get to that 89 jobs, right? So this is just to break down your goals and figure out, okay, what targets do I need to be hitting on a smaller level to be able to hit that big target at the end of the year, right? So this is what we want to do. We want to reverse engineer our goals. And so below here, I have a little bit of extra information about a typical budget of what this could cost, right? So I did a lot of research here and kind of figured out a little bit more about what average cost per lead is. This can vary a lot, and we're going to get into this a little bit more, but let's say, for example, your average cost per lead is $65. That means your budget is going to be, your budget required to be able to hit your targets is going to be just about $19,000 per month for this goal that Gutter Experts has set, right? So I want you guys to fill that out, get clear on what these numbers are, right? How many jobs do you need and how many leads do you need per month? Because we're going to be using this. Great. Thank you. Whoever's at behind the keyboard over there. I appreciate you. So now that we know, right? Now that we know what our goals are, and now that we know what we're actually shooting for, we need to figure out how to get there, right? What's going to be our strategy? What marketing methods are we going to put into place to make sure that we can hit those goals, right? So the first thing that I want to cover here is some of the biggest trends that we're seeing in marketing going into 2025. I'm going to take a drunk. So number one, and I'm sure we're all very familiar, is the growth and popularity of AI, right? In 2023, AI pretty much took off across all industries, and it's really important now. And in terms of Google search, in terms of search, right? People trying to find out things like local businesses. Yes, we should focus on Google and Bing in our overall organic performance, because some people are starting to use ChatGPT search directly to find local businesses, right? But through the research that we've done, we found that ChatGPT search directly takes their results from places like Google and from places like Bing. So as of right now, there's no real worry of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to show up on ChatGPT? Because they're drawing all their results from Google. So if you're already performing really well organically on all these other search engines, you shouldn't have anything to worry about, but it's something to think of looking forward, right? Number two is online scheduling. We found that a lot of people are moving towards, and your clients would prefer to schedule directly online if possible, right? Either through your website or through your social media pages, right? Because if you think about it, after COVID, pretty much everything moved to online. You can order your groceries online. You can book your haircuts online. You can book your dental appointments online, right? Pretty much everything you can get online these days. And home services has kind of been lagging behind that, right? So we want to put up our efforts in saying, okay, you know what? Now you can schedule online for your gutter services. Now, a lot of people might think that this could be an issue because, you know, I've been an estimator. I've been there where you have one estimate in this part of town and you have one estimate in this part of town. It's an hour drive in between. And, you know, you can't really make it work to make it efficient and all this stuff, right? So what I would recommend a lot of people do in terms of online scheduling is definitely provide the option. But what you can do is you can offer a soft schedule, right? To where you can go in and you can say, okay, I want to schedule an estimate for Friday at 3. And boom, it shows up on your calendar and you say, okay, boom, John wants an estimate Friday at 3. You're like, you know what? Friday at 3 doesn't really work that well for me. You know, I got a bunch of other stuff going on and I'd rather have it be at 1 o'clock. What you can do is you can go and give John a call. Say, you know what, John, I saw that you scheduled an estimate for Friday at 3. I really appreciate you wanting to do business with us, and I would love to meet you on Friday, but unfortunately 3 o'clock doesn't really work for me. Would you mind moving to 1? Is that okay with you? That level of communication and that type of customer is going to convert at a lot higher of a level than you trying to bicker back and forth with a client over the phone of when you're available, or you trying to spend all this gas, all this time, all this money on trying to get to a million different places that aren't, in line, aren't optimized, right? So definitely provide the option. And I think soft scheduling could be beneficial for a lot of you guys. Number 3 is two-way text message, right? Give your clients the option to text over call. A lot of people are moving away from phone calls, right? A lot of them want to move towards this text option, which is fine, but we just need to be implementing that into our social media, into our website, so that they can have that option to text so that we can capture those people as well. Number 4 is AI lead follow-up, especially via two-way text, because like I said, they're preferring text nowadays. Follow-up is really important. As we know, I'm sure as a lot of you guys know, especially if you're doing a little bit more business and you got some volume, following up with leads is extremely important, right? What started happening in this past year, and especially going into 2025, is leveraging AI chats to follow up with these leads for you automatically, right? And they've gotten a lot better than what they used to be. And so now we can train these AI chatbots to know what services we sell, know how to communicate with the homeowner, know what our schedule looks like, so they can talk to this homeowner and schedule their estimate or answer any questions that they may have that come up, right? And this is a great way to save some time on mundane admin tasks so you can focus on stuff that's going to bring you more revenue, right? And then number 5 is authentic video content. As we know, AI is getting super popular, right? And with that, a lot of people are starting to leverage AI generated content, either through written word or through image. And a lot of times when more and more people start using this AI content, it's going to become really saturated, right? And it's going to become a large pool of a lot of AI content. And so one way that we can stand out and one way that we can be more authentic as business owners is to leverage authentic video content. So you can put it up on your social media pages. You can post it in Facebook groups. You can put it up on your website, right? Leveraging video content of something as simple as, hey, we're at this client's house that we're working on, and this is the problem that they have, and this is the solution that we propose to them. And there's John up there, cranking away at the install, right? Something as simple as that can really make you guys stand out in the content field as, no, these guys are real, these guys are legit, these guys are trustworthy, and other people are obviously trusting them with their homes, so I should too, right? So I think those 5 things are something to keep an eye out on and definitely implement in the new year. But now we're going to get into the nitty gritty, right? This is the fun stuff. I'm going to take a drink of water because we're about to get moving. And if you have any questions about what we're about to cover, I'm going to host a little bit of a Q&A at the end so that we have time for that, because I really want to move through this stuff and make sure that we can cover all this content because there's a lot. So, I'm going to frame our conversation around marketing today over this accelerated growth roadmap, right? So now this is a roadmap that I had developed that gives 3 clear pillars with 9 clear steps on how to triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right. And that's all that we're talking about today, right? How are we going to hit our goals for 2025? This is the roadmap to do so. And there's 3 main ways that we do this, right? First, we have to drive leads, obviously, right? We need people to be interested in what we sell. Number 2 is we need to convert those leads, right? We need to make sure that we are converting all of that traffic that we're generating at the highest level possible so that it actually can turn into revenue and turn into realized gain. And then number 3, we need to optimize our results, right? We need to know how much we're spending. We need to know what our ROI is so that we can delegate money efficiently to make sure that we're able to hit our goals, right? And we're going to start with driving leads. And still to this day, the number 1 play for driving leads is organic, right? And there's really 3 main reasons why. Number 1 is it's free. You don't have to pay Google an ad spend. You don't have to pay Angie a fee to get that lead, right? It's free. Number 2, it's going to be your highest quality lead that you can generate from your marketing. Because you have to think of it in a term of intent, right? A consumer that searches up Seamless Gutters Dallas and clicks on your website and gives you a call, those people have an intent to purchase, right? They are looking for a solution. So those consumers are going to be a lot more likely to convert into a job, and they're going to be on average a lot higher of a ticket of a job, right? So organic is still the number one way that we can generate leads. Now, I'm not going to dive into like a 45-minute session on how to do SEO for your gutter business. So I'm going to keep it relatively simple, but there is a checklist in all of your workbooks that goes through what you should be doing in SEO for your gutter business. And a lot of this stuff that we're about to cover is going to be in your workbook in checklist form. So you can follow along and you can say, yes, I'm doing that. No, I'm not doing that, etc. Right? But when it comes to SEO and generating organic leads, there's a few things that we want to pay attention to. Number one being all of the work that's going on our website, right? What is actually happening on the page? So we obviously want to have pages for each service and city that we serve, and we want to make sure that those pages are optimized for our keywords, right? We want to make sure that seamless gutters or gutter installation or whatever keywords that are relevant for us are deeply embedded into these pages. And we want to leverage unique content for all of these pages as well, right? Then obviously we want to be claiming and optimizing our Google business profile, having a lot of citations go through them, making sure that we have a lot of reviews coming in, and we need to be publishing content, right? A lot of you guys know about blog posting and you know the benefits of it, but what I see a lot of people making in terms of mistakes, I see a lot of mistakes that I see people making in terms of blog posting is they just kind of put it up on their website and let it be. That's not really going to, a lot of times this content's really good, right? A lot of times you guys write really good content, your agency writes really good content. So we want to leverage that. We don't just want it to sit on the site and collect dust. We want to syndicate that content via a signal engine, push it out to a lot of news platforms, push it out to a lot of press release platforms so that people are able to find this content, and it gives us a lot of positive signals back to our website so that Google can say, yes, that these people are a very reputable website. And so we're therefore going to rank them higher, right? And so here's an example of a client that we're working with in California that does extremely well organically. Last month in November, we were able to generate 135 organic leads just from organic, right? Not including social media, not including referral, not including paid ads, 135 leads just from organic SEO. And over half of those, 79 of them came from their Google business profile, right? From people looking them up, finding them on maps and giving them a call. Now, this isn't me just bragging. This is me showing the power of organic SEO, because let's say your goal is just to get to 1 million, or maybe let's say your goal is just to get to 1.5 million. Maybe 135 leads per month is all you really need, right? That might be your entire lead generation tactic to get to the goal that you want to do, so that you'd be able to save a lot of money on ad spend, save a lot of money on social media by just doing organic SEO, right? So it's just something to think about. And I just wanted to just show you the power of organic SEO and what it can do for your business. And obviously it can get a lot higher than that. I was just kind of proud of that one and wanted to give an example. So the next thing that we can do to drive leads is through paid ads, right? And we're all pretty much familiar with paid ads. We know what they are. And ads can be a really great fuel to your already burning organic fire, right? Where I see a lot of gutter companies go wrong is they just focus on ads, right? They're only focused on ads. They only do Facebook ads. They only do Google ads, which can be really troublesome, because what a lot of people don't know is that your ad performance, right? How you perform on Google ads and the cost of those Google ads is extremely dependent on your organic foundation, because in the way that Google calculates your costs and your performance and all of that, there's this thing called quality score, right? And that quality score is heavily dependent on your SEO, right? Your organic performance. So if you have poor organic performance, you're going to pay a whole hell of a lot more, and your ads are going to perform a whole hell of a lot less than your competitors are, because you don't have that foundation, right? You don't have that solid foundation that is allowing you to perform better, right? So I think that it's really easy to overspend in paid ads, especially in Google ads, if you don't have that foundation, right? And so I think if you had a really solid organic foundation and you had some really solid paid search going, I've seen gutter businesses get to 7 figures and multiple 7 figures just using those two sources without doing Facebook ads, without paying Angie a single dollar, right? Just using those two sources, I've seen gutter businesses get to $3 and $4 million a year. Trust me, I've seen it happen. And so I really think that could be a huge lever for a lot of you guys. But if you're looking to get to that higher level, right? If you're looking to get to maybe $3, $4, $5, $6 million a year, then you might want to leverage something like pay-per lead services and social ads. But I wouldn't spend a single dollar on any of those things or either of those two before you have retargeting and automation in place. Retargeting is really important because it's a shame if someone makes it to your website or clicks on your ad or lands on your landing page, right? And for some reason they don't end up converting, and that's just a sale lost, right? So what retargeting does is we're able to take that person, we can target those people and we can know, okay, this person didn't convert, and we can put display ads in front of them throughout the internet to try and reel them back into our website, to try and reel them back into our landing page to convert, right? And what we found is if you're able to do this and you can have a lead that comes to your website more than 2 times, they're more than twice as likely to convert into a high paying job than someone who just landed once, right? So retargeting is a huge play. And especially if you're going to be using something like pay-per-lead services like Angie, we all know that, you pay Angie a certain amount of money for a lead, that lead is going to get sent out to like 5 different contractors, right? We all know this. And so if we can leverage automation to follow up with that lead extremely quickly and follow up with them multiple times, that increases our chances of earning that job significantly, because oftentimes with these pay-per-lead services, it's like a speed to lead game, right? The first one that reaches out to them are oftentimes going to be the one that wins the job. And so if we can leverage automation to do that for us so that we don't have to be consistently watching that sort of thing, that's a way that we can make things like Angie and those other pay-per-lead services a lot more attractive, right? Because we're actually taking advantage of that tool. And so I see a lot of Google ad campaigns failing, and there's really 3 main reasons why. Number 1 is people are only setting up one ad group for all of the services, right? So instead of sectioning it out per service, what they'll do is they'll smush all these keywords together, they'll smush all these services together, and they'll market this one ad group as all the same thing, which doesn't work, right? Because if someone is looking for gutter guards and they click on your ad and it doesn't say anything about gutter guards on the landing page or anything about gutter guards in the ad, that ad's not going to convert, right? That person is just going to be wasting your money. So if you don't do that, you could be really losing out on a lot of business. Number 2, a lot of people don't use specific text ads and landing pages for certain groups of keywords. So this is the same thing, right? You need to be writing your ads and you need to be writing the landing page copy for the actual service with the actual keyword that you are advertising, right? So that it increases relevance and increases the likelihood that that person is going to convert. And the third thing is no one has any strong call to actions or offers on the landing page, right? Now, this could be something like a discount. This could be something like, a special one-time offer for, this certain advertisement, whatever. But you need to be having a really strong call to action or an offer on the landing page so you give someone a reason to move forward, right? They need incentive. They need a reason to move forward. And it doesn't always have to be a discount, right? If you just have a really strong offer or you just have really strong call to actions, that can be plenty of reason for someone to move forward. You just want to give them that. So I guarantee you, if you can do those 3 things really well, I guarantee you your ad campaigns are going to perform way better than what they are now if you can get those 3 things down. So the last thing that we can do in the driving leads category is through database remarketing, right? Now, database remarketing is a huge untapped potential for gutter businesses, I believe. I don't see anyone tapping into it. And if they are, they're not really doing it the right way, right? So database remarketing is really just generating leads and sales from your current client base, right? People that you already work with. And so I really think that this is a huge opportunity because it's extremely low cost. It doesn't really cost anything. All you have to do is have a phone or an email, right? It's extremely low hanging fruit, right? Because these people have already bought from you before. So they already know who you are. They already know the processes, right? And so therefore these people are going to be able to convert at a lot higher of a level, right? the conversion ratio on your database is going to be significantly higher than on someone who's never heard of you before, right? So it's an amazing opportunity that a lot of people aren't taking advantage of. And if you are, you're not really doing it the right way, because what we've found is there's three main things to make this work. Number one is text message, right? You can send someone an email and you can let it sit in the inbox and they probably aren't going to read it and it's probably going to go to spam. Or you can send them a text message and say, for example, hey, Jim, it's fall. When's the last time you cleaned your gutters? For a limited time, we're going to clean out all the junk for only $2.99. Whatever it might be, right? People are going to read and respond to text messages at a lot higher of a level than they would emails, right? But we want to make sure that we're reaching out to these people multiple times. We don't just want to send one text. We don't just want to send one email. We want to send multiple touch points. So if you can text this person maybe 2 or 3 times in the span of a couple weeks, or send them a text and send them an email and maybe give them a call over the span of a season, right? Over the span of all fall, right? That person is going to be a lot more likely to convert. And if you can do that, especially in the new year, right? It's 2025. So if you can look back and say, okay, what are all the customers that we served in 2024? Like, who are all these people that we served then? You can then go and say, you know what? Hey, it's 2025. Thank you for your business in 2024. We'd love, especially if it's been a while, we'd love to come out and check out how things are doing. We'd love to know how XYZ is doing. Would you be interested in XYZ service, right? Whatever your offer is, it's a great time to be doing that going into the new year. And so this is where we're going to go back into workbook mode here. I want you all to go back into your workbooks and go to page 4. Now in page 4, what you're going to find is this section that says rate yourself. And we're going to be using this section throughout the rest of the training. And what I want you to do is I want you to go into the driving leads category, and I want you to highlight each of the areas below as either green, yellow, or red. You know, green being we're doing extremely well, we're killing it. Red being this needs a lot of work, right? So maybe your organic performance is amazing, right? You're generating a ton of leads, you're showing up number 1 in Google, so that one's a green. But maybe your paid advertising really isn't doing too hot. You could be spending a little bit more, or you could be spending a little bit less. It's bound to yellow. And maybe you really need to get into database remarketing because you understand the opportunity there, right? So maybe that one's a red. So I want you guys to go through really quick, just slap in what your traffic light is for that. And then if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and type in the chat what your red is, right? So what's your red? What's the thing that you really need to work on? Elevated Exterior says, where's the workbook? You must have came in a little bit late. Don't worry. I'll drop the link in the chat right now. And what this workbook is you'll be able to kind of follow along with what we're talking about. And you're going to want to make sure that you make a copy of this workbook so that you can put in all your own numbers and things like that. Awesome. So does anyone want to share what their red is? Does anyone want to share what they're going to be working on or what they think could use some work in the driving leads category? Elevate Exteriors, you were just talking to me about that. So what are we doing? Or anyone else? I might pick on someone here. Paid leads. Yeah, that's a great one. And a lot of people struggle with that. So good job there. Awareness precedes change, right? You need to be aware of what needs fixed before you can actually fix it. So good job. Awesome. So we're going to move on. The next category is maximizing conversion, right? Because we can drive as much traffic as we want. We can drive as many leads as we want. But if we're not converting those leads into book jobs, into interested parties, into reviews, right? If we're not converting those people, then at the end of the day, we're kind of just wasting marketing dollars at that point, right? And the number one way that we can get this conversion percentage higher, and one way that we can leverage our marketing to improve our conversion, is through our website, right? Because I'm a very strong believer that your website is your hub for your marketing, right? Whether it's online, whether it's offline. If someone sees your truck driving by and sees your business name, they're not going to memorize your phone number and give you a call, right? They're going to know what your business name is and search you up. And if someone clicks on your Facebook ad, they're going to end up on the website. They're going to end up on a landing page, right? So we want to make sure that our website is built to convert as many of those people as possible into leads, right? Into callers, into form submissions, whatever it might be. And so again, in your workbooks, you have an entire checklist of some of the critical elements that you can use to enhance conversion. I don't want to put you guys to sleep, so I'm not going to read through each one of these, but there's 3 key things that I want to mention when it comes to website conversion, right? And that is authenticity, number 1, content, and call to action, right? Authenticity, content, call to action. Now, authenticity is super important, right? Because homeowners that are choosing us to come work on their home where they live, right? They want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust, right? Because you're coming to work on their home, right? So those 3 things are very important. So if we can be authentic in our website by using authentic images of the team and posting fun videos throughout the website and posting pictures of our work and maybe even having a welcome video, right? If we can showcase our business's authenticity on the website, those people are a lot more likely to convert into customers because they see that we're real people doing real business that they can trust, right? And not just a face of a company, right? Number 2 is content, right? We need to have a lot of high quality content on the website, not only for SEO purposes, but for conversion purposes as well. Because a lot of times homeowners don't even know, they don't know nothing about gutters, right? And one thing that I see all the time is people will write content on their website as if they're speaking to another gutter business owner or another installer, right? You're not at a gutter convention, right? You're not at GutterCon, you're not at Gutter Summit, you're not doing any of this stuff. You're speaking to homeowners. And a lot of times these homeowners don't know anything about gutters, right? So you want to write the content on your website to speak towards their pain points, right? Speak towards their fears and what their frustrations are, because this is gonna land a lot more with these customers, and they're gonna say, you know what, no, this company really gets what I'm feeling here. Maybe I will go forward with them, right? Number 3 is call to actions. We want to make it really easy for these people to get what they want. A lot of times what they want is to find out more information, to schedule an estimate, to book a job, right? So we want to make it as easy as possible for these people to do so by leveraging extremely strong call to actions, using that two-way text feature, right? Putting call to actions throughout the website in strategic places, right? We want to make sure that we're leveraging this sort of thing, because the easier we can make it, the more likely they are to convert, right? So this is an example of a client that we have in Dallas, Texas. And this is a website that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about here. So easy one-click navigation is super important, right? Because if they're looking for certain things on the website, we want to make it easy for them to find that, right? Large contact info, top right-hand corner, that's the number 1 place that you want to put it. Real team photos and videos, right? This picture that you see in the back here is a video of this guy doing some install, right? That's great. Boost that authenticity. Then also that form submission, right? We want to make it easy for them to move forward, right? So the form submission isn't hidden all the way at the bottom of the website like a lot of your guys's are. It's right up top, right? It's easy to find. They don't got to go searching. This is, again, the same client that we have out in California. You can see the same thing, right? Very easy navigation. They have that text widget down at the bottom. This picture is also a video that you see that they put together for me, which is great, right? And so websites like these are going to convert at a lot higher of a level, like I'm about to show you here, right? Now, this is real data, right? This is real data. And what I want you to, there's 3 numbers that I want you to pay attention to here: sessions, leads, and click to call ratio, right? Then this is our conversion. So this amount of sessions, right? I guarantee you that, especially if you're doing pretty well in your market already, I guarantee you that your website is probably generating somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500 sessions, right? That's pretty standard. A lot of home services websites do that. But if you see here, they were able to generate almost 500 organic leads from their website because their conversion ratio on the website was so much higher. An average gutter business website will convert at maybe 5%, maybe 10%, right? But when we really start to see impact is when our website can convert at minimum 15% or higher, right? Even at 15%, let's say you're on the low end. Let's say your website generates 1,000 sessions and it converts at 15%. That's still 150 organic leads that you're generating every single month, right? And you're able to improve that just by focusing on the conversion, right? You don't got to spend another dollar on ads. You don't got to spend another dollar on SEO. If you just focus on the conversion of your website, you can immediately increase the amount of leads that you're getting from your website, right? And it's possible. Trust me, this is real data. This is real. I'm not making this up. So that's website, right? The second part of maximizing conversion is your reputation. We all know that consumers want to know if others have had a good experience with you, right? That's why your reputation is so important, both word of mouth wise and online, via Google, Yelp, Nextdoor, whatever it might be, right? What we found is if your company can have at least, at the minimum, 100 reviews and have those reviews generate at least 4.5 stars, you'll be seen as an expert and you'll be seen as an authority in your market if you can have that, right? Now, all of us in Gutters are doing enough volume to do that, right? I guarantee you, if you focus on getting reviews in this next year, even if you're sitting at 0, I guarantee you within 8 months, you can get to 100 reviews, right? Because we're doing enough volume to do it. The only problem is getting people to actually leave a review, right? The good news is there's a lot of services nowadays and there's a lot of tools that we can use that can actually help us get these reviews, right? My favorite one is Nearby Now, but there's other ones like ReviewBuzz, like Birdeye, like Customer Lobby, right? But the whole key, right, what all these tools are going to do is they're going to send a review request after every single job. And even if you're not using these tools, you should be sending a review request after every single job, no matter how big, no matter how small, you should be asking for a review, right? And there's really 3 main things that I have found that can make it easier to get reviews. Number 1 is leveraging multi-channel, right? So sending a text message, sending an email, sending a voicemail drop, right? There's technology that exists that you can drop a voicemail in someone's inbox without even having to pick up the phone and call them. You can drop a voicemail and say, hey, John, just saw that we finished up the work over at XYZ address. I'm super glad that the guys were able to get that done so quickly. If you would be so kind, could you go to this link or could I text you the link to go leave us a review, right? That is going to have so much power and that is going to have such a higher chance of that person leaving a review than sending out an email 3 weeks after the job is done, requesting a review, right? And if you can do the second thing in this point and leverage automation to have that all done for you automatically after every single job, that's going to give you so much more likelihood that these people are going to ask for reviews, because it's not Susan in the office taking 3 years to send out this review request or being inundated with all these things that she has to do. And so, you got to go and send these review requests. No, it'll do it for you, right? And I guarantee you'll get more reviews if you can leverage something like that. Bonus tip, what you can do is you can give your installers a stack of printed review cards where on the card you can have a QR code, and that QR code, if scanned, will take you to your review platform where they can leave a review, right? And even if you don't have a tech savvy person that you're serving, you can have your installer say, hey, give me your phone and I'll scan this real quick for you and you can leave a review right here, right now. How easy is that, right? And that stack of review cards would cost you $50, right? Come on. Easy stuff. You just got to do it. Again, this is a client of ours, 570 reviews, over 570 reviews now, and 5-star rating. They kill it out in Boise, Idaho. This is the same client in California that we've been referencing. We were able to actually take all of their reviews and implement it into the website so that you can see all of the reviews that they have on the website. Huge bonus for conversion. And the last piece of conversion is automation. I've been talking about it. I've been mentioning it, and it's a huge piece of how we can get people to convert at a higher level. Because a lot of times, and this is true in a lot of businesses, this is oftentimes even true in mine, right? That lead flow really might not be the problem, right? We might be generating enough leads to hit our goals. The issue might be conversion, right? We can't convert those leads into booked jobs, right? Our sales process might be fine. This has nothing to do with the sales process. We might have a really solid sales process, but we just can't convert because of everything that happens in between, right? So what the problem is what we found is 50 to 60% of inbound leads leave unconverted, right? So either a call, a form submission, whatever, they leave unconverted. And 90% of web forms are failing to convert because a customer will fill it out. It'll sit in your inbox for 3 weeks, or it might go to spam, or you might just not ever check that inbox anymore. So people who are submitting those web forms aren't getting a response. So 90% of web forms fail to convert. This is because, and leads might not be the problem, right? Your conversion might be the problem, because leads that aren't followed up within 15 minutes go cold, right? These people are busy, right? These people have lives outside of your business, and they might have other businesses that they're contacting, right? So if you're not following up, and if you're not getting in touch with these leads within 15 minutes, those leads are going to go cold, right? And the average customer needs to be followed up with 5 to 7 times before actually booking or before actually closing, right? So if we're not following up fast and following up multiple times, these people are going to be extremely unlikely to convert, right? And today's consumer, like I've said, prefers to interact via text, right? If we can be following up with these people via text, if someone gives us a call, no one answers, who, desk lady's busy, whatever, no one answers, we send out a text. 2 minutes later, we send out a text automatically, right? We send out a text saying, hey, this is John with ABC Gutter. So sorry we missed your call. How can I help? Right? And then if they don't respond, we follow up at least 5 more times over a period, we don't want to spam them. At least 5 more times, that person is a lot more likely to come back and say, oh yeah, I was looking for XYZ, because they get busy, right? Things happen. And so we need to be leveraging automation for this sort of stuff. So the solution here is to leverage automation to follow up with web forms within 2 minutes, right? I know I said 15 minutes, they go cold. We want to be following up as soon as possible. We don't want it to be instant, because then it seems like a bot, and then it seems kind of, a little weird. 2 minutes, right? That's the sweet spot. If you can follow up with web forms and unanswered calls within 2 minutes via phone, via text message, via email, you're going to significantly increase your chance of converting that person into a book job, or even into an estimate, right? And if we can automate the follow-up so that they are touched at least 5 times and they're able to engage with us via two-way text, that person is going to be a lot more satisfied, and they're going to get their information a lot quicker from us than they would have as if they had to wait for you to call the next day or whatever it might be, right? Super important to leverage automation, especially going into 2025. So again, let's take a pause here. Go into page 4 of your workbooks. Go into the rate yourself section. And this time, I want you to go into the maximize conversion and do the same thing, right? Where are you struggling? Where are you killing it at? And this time, last time I said, I wanted to see where you guys were struggling. Where are you doing good at? What's your green, right? So if you could drop in the chat, what are you doing really good at? Is your website maybe killing it, right? Are you doing extremely well there? Are you converting at a 15% rate or higher? Do you have automation in place, right? Are you guys actually following up these leads automatically, right? What's your green? Where are you doing good at? You drop that in the chat for me. This is important stuff, guys. Come on. There we go. Gutter experts. You guys have been my champions this episode, or this session. Reputation and referrals. That's great. Yeah, reputation is huge. And I think I've spoken to you guys before. You guys have amazing, an amazing level of reviews, which is awesome. And I assume that that's come from having a process built out, right? Having a system in order to get those reviews. So congrats there. Good job, guys. And thank you for participating. I appreciate you. Okay, let's press on. The last part, and I'm not going to spend a whole ton of time here because I want to leave some time for questions. But the last part here is optimizing results, right? The first thing that we need to do is we need to get clear on our total spend, right? Because we want to know how much to invest in marketing, how much we should be investing in marketing to reach our goals, right? But we don't want to just guess. We don't want to overspend. We want to stay profitable, right? Because the budget needs to expand as the growth does, right? Because that might be your only problem. You might be doing great everywhere else, but you're just not spending enough to get the volume that you need to hit your goals, right? So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go back into our worksheet. But first, I want to kind of give you some metrics here. So in terms of percentage of revenue, right? I talked to a bunch of gutter business owners. I talked to a lot of coaches, a lot of them that you might be very familiar with. And I got a lot of these numbers pretty packed down. So in terms of percentage of revenue, to stay static, right? To stay completely flat, we're just going to stay where we're at. 5% or less is about the range that you want to be in to stay static, right? But if you want to grow, right? If you want to have moderate growth, anywhere from 6 to 12% is considered for moderate growth. Again, this depends on markets and things like that, but 6 to 12% is pretty solid. For accelerated growth, for like, you know what, we want to hit our goals and we wanted to hit them yesterday. For accelerated growth, about 12 to 15% plus is what we need to be spending, is what we need to be spending, right? Not what we could be spending, but what we need to be spending to hit our goals, right? And now this might be an eye opener for some of you because I've talked to hundreds of gutter businesses and a lot of them are spending 5%, 3%, 4%, right? And they're like, I don't know why we're growing. Well, it's because you're not spending enough, right? You don't have enough volume coming in, right? So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go into this worksheet again, right? Hopefully a lot of you guys got this figured out. You were able to understand how to make a copy of it. But now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go into this budget allocations tab. And there's going to be a lot of content here that we're going to cover, right? So, or sorry, actually, we're just going to cover a little piece of it first and then we'll come back to it. But the first part is this marketing budget planner, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the information that we got from our lead generation planner. This cell will automatically populate. Whoopsies. This cell will automatically populate with that information. And I'm going to call on the gutter experts again to help me out with this, with these numbers here. So the gutter experts had a annual projected revenue of about 3 million for 2025, right? That's the goal, right? And so gutter experts, if you could tell me based on what level of growth you want, whether it's moderate, stagnant, moderate, or accelerated, can you give me a solid percentage of revenue that you guys are going to plan on allocating towards your marketing budget? Just give me a number, whatever you have down under your sheet yourself. And if you don't really know, that's okay. Again, a lot of this is just to give you an idea, right? So if you don't have a number, that's fine. We can move on regardless. Okay, looks like they might not have a number. That's totally okay. We're going to put 8%, right? We're going to say, you know what? We want some moderate growth. So we're going to invest 8% of our annualized revenue into our marketing, right? So if we can put 8% in there, we see here that our total marketing budget for the year is going to be about $240,000, right? And that breaks down to $20,000 a month. And that's what we wanted to know here, right? We want to get clear on our total spend. How much are we going to be spending each month so that we have enough volume, enough chances to hit our goals, right? And this is super important. So what we're doing now is we're going to then talk about our average cost per lead, right? Because we need to know how much leads are actually going to cost us to get once they arrive to us, right? How much is this actually going to cost? And so in that sheet, the next tab over, I have the average cost per lead listed in there, and this is a screenshot of that. And you can see here that, again, this is a lot of the same data that I took from before, but I break it down by channel. PPC is obviously going to be the most expensive in what I have here. Facebook ads is actually going to be the most expensive in total, but PPC in general sits at around 75, and we have a blended average of around 43. Again, this changes all the time, right? This changes by market. This changes by time of year. This changes by regulation, right? This changes by economy. A lot of people have said that this changes by who's in office. I'm not going to get into that, but this can change by a lot of different things, right? So keep in mind what your average cost per lead is and, update it throughout the year as needed. But this is going to give you at least some benchmark to work with as we move forward. So get clear on our average cost per lead, right? We want to know how much a lead is going to cost us so that then we can calculate what our return on investment is, right? How much are we actually making back from the money that we're spending on our marketing? Because marketing should not be an expense, right? Marketing is not should not be a line item under your expense sheet, right? It should be an investment, right? It should be something that's generating revenue, generating profit, right? And we want to treat it as such, right? So we want to, this famous quote that I love, half my advertising spend is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half, right? Which is maybe true for a lot of us, but the reality is with the tools and the resources that we have today, we can put together something like this ROI Insights report, or we can get clear on this stuff, right? We can know how much are we spending? What is that breaking down per channel? How much are we spending in SEO? How much are we spending in PPC? How much are we spending in retargeting, right? And what are we making back from that? SEO is killing it. We're getting this much back. Paid ads isn't. We're getting this much back, right? Having this type of information is crucial so that you can not only make marketing decisions, not only know what you should be spending on your marketing, but know what you should be spending, or sorry, not only make marketing decisions, but also make business decisions, right? From this information, you can gather whether you have the money, you have the runway, you have the opportunity to hire that new crew, or maybe you need a new admin, or you know what, your last crew leader just left and you need to hire a new one, but they might cost a little bit more because prices have gone up, right? This type of information is what you're going to be using to make those decisions, right? So it's extremely important to get clear on what your return on investment from your marketing is so that you can move your business forward, right? So again, real quick, this one's not going to be as hard. Go to page 4 in your workbooks. Green, yellow, red. Stoplight yourself. Do you know what your average total spend is? Is it enough? Is it too much? Do you know what your average cost per lead is? Is it enough? Is it too much? Know what your return on investment is. Is it high? Is it low? Right? Red light, green yourself. And I'm not going to ask you to share this one, but just know what this information is, right? Excuse me. So the last part of this is plan your focus, right? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we need to actually plan for this sort of thing, right? Because progress doesn't happen without a plan, right? We can't just look at a goal and say, yep, that'd be nice, and not have a plan to get there, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our sheet and we are going to look at this marketing budget planner. And below the section that we had just worked on, right? So we know we want to make $3 million next year. Great. We're going to spend about 8% of our revenue on marketing. That gives us $20,000 a month to work with. Even as an agency, even as someone who gets paid to do online marketing, I do not want you guys to be spending all of your money in online marketing, right? That is a bad decision. Don't do that, right? There should be a breakdown, right? Obviously, online marketing should be the majority because that is where people are looking for this sort of thing nowadays, right? But you should have a chunk left over for offline purposes and for repeat business, right? So online, you could be spending on SEO, you could be spending on PPC, you could be spending on Facebook ads. Offline, you could be getting yard signs, right? You could be sending out mailers. You could be attending local events and setting up a booth, right? We want to make sure that we are allocating the budget appropriately, right? And we also need to have some sort of a little bit of money left over for that repeat business, right? Because we want people to come back to us, continuously come back to us. So whether that's in creating a newsletter and whether that's creating an email list, whatever it might be, allocate some money to that repeat and referral business. And so this is a general rule of thumb, but this is pretty much what we've seen in all of our data and what a lot of the coaches that we've talked to. This seems to be a pretty solid split for your marketing budget. 70% allocated to online, 20% for offline, and 10% for repeat and referral, which is pretty solid, right? And so in the case of the gutter experts here, that means that they would spend $168,000 on their online marketing, 48,000 offline, 24,000 repeat and referral for the entire year, right? And so what this will do is it'll break down per channel per month what you should be spending. So online about 14,000, 4,000, 2,000, right? But we can dive down even further and go into, okay, what online channels should we actually be spending on, right? Again, this is a rule of thumb, but I found that 35%, 55%, and 5% is a really solid breakdown for what you should be spending on organic, paid, and display, which is retargeting, right? And so in the case here, we're going to spend almost $100,000 on PPC, about $60,000 on SEO, right? And this is the breakdown per month, right? So we can see just under $5,000 a month, just under 8,000, and about $700 a month going towards that remarketing and retargeting, right? This is to give you a plan, right? This is to give you an idea of what you can expect per month, what you can plan for per month, and what you can have in the back of your pocket as, you know what, this month we might need to upspend a little bit. This month we might need to drop spend a little bit, right? Because again, this is a seasonal business. A lot of us are in climates where we're not able to do business year round, or we have to tone down business in certain parts of the year, right? And so this can give you an idea of, on average, how much you want to spend, and then you're able to allocate that appropriately depending on your season, right? And so I want you guys to use this, right? Use this sheet as your guiding light, right? Know how much you should be spending. This is important stuff. The next thing that I wanted to show you was this plan your focus marketing calendar, right? So what we have here is, it's very simple, but obviously our messaging and our marketing and what we're putting out into the world is going to change based on the season, right? We're not going to be talking about the same things throughout the year. So what I have here is I have very specific campaigns that you can run for PPC, some content that you can write for your email letters, some social media ideas that you can put, some SEO content that you can write, display retargeting ads that you can write, right? Per month, per season, right? So obviously for PPC, you're going to emphasize your winterized services for heat tape or ice dam or whatever that might be for you in January. But in July, you're going to emphasize your full installs and, you know, maybe some repair replacement stuff. October, getting into the fall, you want to emphasize your guards and your cleanings, right? This gives you a guiding light of what you can be using as your messaging throughout the year. And then as well, for that, not display, what am I talking about here? Starts with a D, database. For that database remarketing, right? A really strong way to capture a lot of those people is through offers, right? Special offers, because they've already done business with you before. So again, here are some special offers that I gave you that you can use and adjust yourself for each time of the year, right? And this is what you're going to want to be doing for 2025, right? You're going to want to know how much we're going to spend per month, what our messaging is going to be per month, and how are we going to allocate that? Is it going to go to email? Is it going to go to social? Is it going to go to SEO, right? What is that going to do? We want to plan this stuff out. So I give you all that resources so that you can make that yourself, because you know your business better than I do, right? So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but at least you have some sort of idea of what works. So that's what we got here. That's content, right? That is the strategy. And so the worst thing that you can do right now is to have sat on this webinar for an hour and 15 minutes, however long we're on now, and go, you know what, George, that was great. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the resources. And then go and move on with your life and do nothing, right? Because then effectively you've just wasted an hour of your time where you could have been doing something more productive, could have been making more money, could have been spending more time with your family. And so what you should be doing to utilize this information and use what we've taught today is write down what are your top 3 action items, right? Based on your stoplight. So you can go back to your stoplight. That's why I gave it to you. You can go to your stoplight and figure out, where are my red areas, right? What is red for me? What do I need to work on? And which one of those red areas are my top priorities, right? Whatever that is for you, write it down. There's power in writing this stuff down. You can think about it all day. But once you write it down, you solidify it and you say, yep, these are the things that I'm going to be working on for 2025. So I want you guys to write down, what are your top 3 action items? You can do this on pen, you can do this on paper. There's a spot in your workbook that you can do it. I would recommend putting it in your office, right? Putting it up on the big whiteboard in your office saying, you know what, these are the 3 things that we're going to be working on for this year to improve upon our marketing, right? Great stuff can happen when you write it down. So what did we cover today? What did we just go over? Well, first, we set clear goals and targets so that we knew where we were going for 2025. We realigned our KPIs and our tracking to know what we should be doing each month to actually achieve these outcomes. We mapped out our plan for accomplishment, right? So we know what our budget should be. We know what channels we should be investing in, and we know the important trends we want to be looking towards in 2025 to stay ahead of the curve and not lag behind, right? And overall, hopefully, my end goal today was to set you guys up for massive success in 2025. So I hope I've done that in today's session. So a lot of you guys might be thinking, you know what, George, this is great and all, but I don't know how to run a PPC campaign. That's something that I really need to do. I don't know how to do Google Ads. I don't know how to write a website or make a website, right? I don't know how to do SEO, which is totally fine. I understand that. Not everyone does. And so what I would love for you to do is I would love for you to bring me your planning document. I want you to bring me your workbook, bring me your planning sheet with your budgeting. And what we can do is we can sit down together and work through exactly how you're able to hit your goals and how I might be able to help, right? Whether that's me just giving you some advice on how to do some marketing stuff, or you want to partner with us on our business side. Either way, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and talk about this sort of thing. So if that's you, if you're looking a little confused and you're like, you know what, I need some help, you can always give me a call at 970-707-0905, or you can always visit page.gutterwisemarketing.com/schedule, where you can select a time to meet with me and we can talk through this sort of thing, or always feel free to send me an email at george@gutterwisemarketing.com. So I'm going to stick around a little bit for questions, but unless, if no one has any questions, then I'm just going to sit here and I'm ready to go when you guys are. So load me up with questions, but if not, have a great day.